Are any of you gullible enough to believe that the attacks on Turning Point USA were not planned, were not calculated, were not coordinated, were not paid for by the left? Are any of you, if any of you are that gullible with what you're seeing and what has happened over the last 72, well, it happened on Friday, so 96 hours. You need to wake up. You're in a, you're living on a river. It's called denial. Because now one of the biggest leftists, he actually has said numerous times that the United States deserved what happened on 9/11. Are you starting to understand this now? A guy by the name of Hasan Piker, his uncle is Cenk Uygur, the Young Turds. His uncle wanted to legalize doing things to horses. A little thing called beastie reality. You know what I'm talking about? And now, Charlie Kirk, founder of TPUSA, was shot dead September 10th while speaking at Utah Valley University. Prosecutors charged Tyler Robinson, backed by DNA on the rifle. Confession, note, incriminating text, surveillance video. Leftist streamer Hasan Piker mocked Owens' unverified claims like Israeli involvement, Egyptian helicopters, as insane. Yet he thanked her for derailing Republican efforts. Conservatives criticized Owens for ignoring the evidence against the radicalized leftists, seeing Piker's praise as a sign she's drifted from their side. It's continuing. Candace Owens hosts show after the debate on Charlie's assassination. Moderated by Patrick Bet-David, the debate drew millions of viewers, $300,000 purse, as Owens clashed with Andrew Wilson. And today on the show, the unbelievable behind the scenes of the story of what occurred leading to the debate. Turning Point USA emerges as the biggest loser. Do you understand now that this was planned? Turning Point USA is without a doubt the largest young conservative organization. Charlie Kirk helped young men realize they were young men. And Candace Owens has almost destroyed that single-handedly. Are you starting to understand now? I hope you do when your sons, nephews, brothers start, dressing up in the furry outfit. But a good friend of mine, Sean Farish, shared this clip of Hasan Piker. I've been saying this for a year. This was the goal. Divide, conquer, divide, conquer. Look at this. There's no way Democrats could pay to have this much damage done to the Republican Party.
I can't speak out against this queen because
he calls her a queen
that successfully and single-handedly undermined the Republican initiative to martyrize Charlie Kirk and use that example to crack down on political dissent. She dropped a grenade on the discourse. You understand? So I'm with her. It's hard. It's hard for me. My brain says, no, it's probably Tyler Robinson. But my heart says, go, Candace, go. Keep cooking. Does that make sense? I can't like her tweets because she blocked me many, many years ago. This is before she became our hero. Okay.
Did you hear that? Before she became our hero. She has done more damage to Turning Point USA, to the American conservative movement, than the left could do themselves. Listen to it again. Her hero.
To me. many, many years ago. This is before she became our hero.
Our hero.
Many, many years ago, Candace Owens blocked me. I've not.
She is now the left's hero. People replying to Sean. A lot of us tried to make a big enough stink to stop this or at least delay it. You're so right. Candace Owens is a narcissist who sells herself to the highest bidder. Give me $300K to debate you on this, Sean. Hell, I'll do it for $300. If anybody wants to debate me, how about $3? I'll debate you. She had a leftist on her show. It's supposed to prove she's not a leftist. Are you starting to understand more and more of these people are destroying the conservative movement? And they're cashing checks and breaking necks. Dear Miss Owens, come to our attention through our resources that Tyler Robinson himself could produce his own damn steakhouse receipt. I don't know where the steakhouse receipt came from. I don't know like where that went or how far in the rabbit hole that is. But damn, look at Candace here. Little pictures of Russia. This is only made funnier the fact that there was absolutely no contract clause preventing me from asking questions. It gets better. It gets so much better, right? We always try to provide some receipts. Candace Owens deleted this post off every platform. It was the first podcast she did with PragerU. Now, why would she want this taken down? Listen to the queen of the left.
I mean, there have been moments where I was just crying in bed and shouting at Charlie on the phone. Like, I mean, we've gotten into fights and things get really heated and vicious because we're fighting a war together. But the thing is our names are tagged to it.
Yes.
So everything that comes out, it's Charlie Kirk, it's Candace Owens, it's Charlie Kirk. And there's so much hurt and emotion and pain that goes on behind the scenes. And I want to really stress that point because I know that there are a lot of kids now that go through depression and angst and they look at people's lives on social media and they think, wow, I wish I had that life. But
wish you had that life. Ben, I'll debate you, but we will agree 98%. Probably not a debate if you agree with me. She does need a flush. I don't know if I have a toilet big enough. But old Sean Farish tried to tell you. We have all tried to tell you this was a psyop by the left. She's not one of us. She has never been one of us. She played a role. It was all a role. Listen to this.
You know, I wouldn't say that I'm on her side on this issue. I am, let's just say I'm spiritually on the sidelines on this. Because, like, on the one hand, my brain tells me something entirely different than what my heart is championing, if you know what I mean, okay? If you're picking up what I'm putting down. On the one hand, I want to be logical. I want to be rational about this case. But then on the other hand, I'm thinking to myself, I can't speak out against this queen. I mean, I can't.
Keeps calling her a queen. Keeps calling her a queen. And then you've got Patrick Bet David says Turning Point USA should sue Candace Owens. I don't know why they haven't. Why haven't they sued the hell out of this woman?
And people always ask me, what happened with Candace? What happened with Candace? This is my opinion. I think she said political content is declining. But you know what's not declining? Conspiracy theories, murder mysteries, pop culture. Jeffrey Dahmer's the #1 show on Netflix. So like a Scooby-Doo type thing. She's like, I'm going to follow the crowd. And you win the crowd, you win your freedom. And I actually respect that. I don't respect the methodology which she's doing it, which is basically trampling on a widow's,
can I say,
on a widow and her
okay,
kids.
So,
but
Listen to what he says. This guy, some of you might like this guy, so I'm not going to say anything.
I respect the fact what her game plan is.
Guess what? Then TPUSA, sue her. Then
They're
TPUSA,
probably considering it.
Do something.
Well, did you see the part where he asked her point blank, will you say on camera right now that Erica Kirk or TPUSA were involved in the murder?
Won't say
She said, I
because
won't
she
say
knows
that.
it's a lawsuit, but she's already said it a couple
But
other times.
she's already insinuated so many times. That's the challenge I have.
But listen,
Did she not say straight to jail? Straight to jail.
There's
it's a monopoly joke.
There's not a lot of things. There's not a
Why is Turning Point USA not suing her? Why is Erica Kirk not suing the hell out of this woman? I can't figure it out. Now, here's another one that really kind of threw me for a curveball. Patrick Bet-David reveals who he thinks won, and then I'm going to show you something in this that it all makes sense.
You know who I will say won? Here's who I will say won. I think both of them won, and I'll tell you why they won. But I think Candace won because she got the money and she presented her argument. And in an area where she conceded, she says, I don't know why you're playing this video. I already conceded to you. And I said, yeah, I was wrong. And she did that. So that was good for her to do that. And I think she got in front of an audience and moved some people that probably don't watch her content. Remember, baptizing is key. Baptizing is key. And I think Andrew Wilson won because, let me explain it to you how much he won. And I think he won more than Candace won. And my argument is going to be very, very weird. You ready?
Go ahead.
You ready?
Wait for this. This changes the dynamic of everything about the debate. Listen to what he says. And I think he's 1,000,000% right here.
Weird. You ready?
Go ahead.
You ready? This guy spent $300,000 and got somewhere between $50 to $200 million of ad viewership.
Yeah.
Great point.
So guess what?
He's a big winner.
My wife at home says, who was the guy? I'd never seen him before. My dad says, I've never. Most people, his YouTube channel only had 180, 200,000 subs.
Yeah.
He spends 300 grand. He got between 50 and 200 million in advertising revenue. Now he is renowned. He was on Joe Rogan's show about 3 days prior. So Andrew Wilson is cashing some checks right now. He just became very popular.
Yeah. Very good, eloquent. I've had him on. He's been on Rogan a couple times. So he's getting the momentum. I think Andrew Wilson won because for everybody that says, what an idiot to give $300,000, I think it's the same story as Kanye spent $7 million on an ad for Super Bowl and sold $25 million of merch. I think Andrew Wilson won because overnight now everybody knows who he is.
You're exactly right. I'll tell you who we don't know. Honestly, all these channels do nothing for me. Not interested. Good. Let's break out the first flush of the day. Goodbye, unsubscribe. Thank you so much for dropping by and dropping out. Andrew Wilson made a lot of money.
Yeah.
Very simple. So from the business standpoint,
Great point.
Andrew Wilson made a lot more than $300,000.
Think about it. Andrew Wilson made a lot more than 300 grand, and Patrick Bet-David got to sell $600 shoes. $600 and I bought 4 pair. I bought 4 pair. Join the channel as a member. I'm going to send you some. I'll send you some. But this is what's happening right now, guys. The left won this debate. I put a poll in the chat, and I'd love to get an idea of who you think won the debate. Did Candace win? Did Democrats win? Did Turning Point USA win? Or did Andrew Wilson win? I believe Andrew Wilson won monetarily. I think the Democrat Party won with regards to damage to the conservative movement. When you have people like Hasan Piker coming out and praising Candace Owens, that should tell you a lot, because this is who basically Hasan Piker is.
Liberation, Weatherman, all that conglomeration of anti-civilizational stuff. And when you see the agenda of the Democratic Socialists, I mean, it's very funny to have these young kids start mouthing off, well, we don't like the name president. We're going to get rid of that. And, you know, the Senate, that's a wealthy person. That's not fair. We're just going to get rid of that. And then we'll expand the House, and that'll be just like a radical Athenian democracy, whatever they.
You just made my point. Tina, I never heard of Andrew Wilson until the debate. Game, set, match. His $300,000 GoFundMe got this guy a lot of bank.
They say is the law. And of course, we'll get rid of the Supreme Court, we'll get rid of the president, and they have all these ideas. And you think, do you think that Hamilton and Jefferson and all these people died for you people? Do you think that we went 250 years and we fought everywhere from Iwo Jima all the way to Belleau Wood to Gettysburg so that you people could just walk in, many of them from first or second generation immigration, lecturing us?
I'm not going to be lectured. I'm not going to be lectured by these people. The left, the Democrat socialist, the rhinos, the people that Tucker Carlson is trying to put up. I'm not going to be lectured by them.
I don't know the purpose of what the Tucker Carlson group is, because historically it would suggest that all they want to do is make sure that Donald Trump's successor, J.D. Vance or Marco Rubio, loses the 2028 election.
That is all they want. They want one thing, and that is for the left to win.
Tucker Carlson recently assembled a group of like-minded apostate MAGA conservatives for a meeting to discuss apparently a possible third-party run in 2028. I think a lot of us were mystified for a lot of reasons. One of them was that third parties in American political history really have had no record in the modern era of ever winning.
The only time that a third party has won, well, let me just say this. The third party has caused so much damage in America. The first damage it caused was Theodore Roosevelt. The second damage it caused led to the Clinton Foundation. Theodore Roosevelt was one of the most progressive leftist presidents this country has ever seen. He set up welfare. He set up all of these progressive ideas, or the beginnings of what has happened. And we haven't ever been able to get away from it. Listen to this.
Do affect the election in some cases, but that's only to hurt the party that is more ideologically akin to the third party run. For example, in 1912, William Howard Taft, the incumbent president, was challenged by his predecessor, Theodore Roosevelt, who didn't like the first term of Taft. He created the Bull Moose third party. What was the effect of that? He split the conservative Republican vote, and thereby he elected one of the most liberal progressives in the history of the United States, contrary to both his views and Taft's, Woodrow Wilson. Ross Perot was a conservative. He said he was, from Texas. So was George H.W. Bush, up for re-election in 1992 against Bill Clinton. What did Perot do? He ran a third-party ticket. He was angry at the Bushes. He felt they were not correct on some conservative issues, debt and other things. And he succeeded in ensuring that Bill Clinton, a Democrat, would win the election with less than 50% of the vote. He did it.
That's what the goal is. The whole goal is to split the vote and get a Democrat in. That is the goal behind this entire process. If they can do it with Turning Point USA, if they can do it with Tucker Carlson, if they can do it with Massey, if they can do it with Marjorie Taylor Greene, if they can do it with Joe Kent, if they can do it with all of these paid military social media influencers to turn the military against what's happening, to turn the families of the United States military against what's happening, you're starting to understand the damn game. Meanwhile, nobody will say anything about this. Iranians are facing 400% food price increases as the blockade crushes the economy. Are you seeing what's happening, ladies and gentlemen? That's what's happening right now. I'll see you in the next one.